Straide in County Mayo is the smallest village in the smallest diocese, but has the biggest heart in all of Ireland. It has a rich history and is home to Mayo's most famous son, Michael Davitt. A caring community that takes pride in its people, environment, landscape and amenities. It is a place of activity and community, embracing all who are associated with our beautiful area. Welcome to Straide, County Mayo. Straide Church was consecrated in 1916 and is part of the Diocese of Achonry and the Father Peyton cluster.
The parish has an active pastoral council and Father Martin has been parish priest since 2013.
We try to cater for the needs of everybody in the community, the sick, the elderly, the young, people who are in need of anything. We try to reach out to their needs. And it's not just a church reaching out, it's a whole community reaching out, because you can't have one operating without the other. We all operate in tandem.
A highlight of the work of the Pastoral Council was the planning and celebration of the Church's centenary, with huge celebrations throughout the year and a compiling and publishing of a commemorative magazine, a wonderful record of vibrant community life.
These celebrations brought all members of our community together.
Canon Andrea Wills, who is the parish priest of the Anglican parish of Foxford, she just lives down the road from us and she's always here with us anytime we have any major celebrations.
An extensive conservation project has recently been completed on the church, which included work on the roof barges and exterior stonework. Community fundraising has been essential to this project.
2/3 of what it cost to actually do our conservation, the overall cost was in the region of €300,000, 2/3 of that is already in. And certainly a lot of work was done and a great deal of gratitude is due to all of those who worked so hard over the past 2 years to raise such significant funds. As I said on the first day I came to Straide, look forward to working with and for the people of Straide to the best of our ability.
Music enhances the parish liturgies. The Saturday evening choir follow their motto: to sing is to pray.
We sing here every Saturday night and we enjoy it, and the music enhances the Mass.
There's a total of about 12, I'd say. They might not all be here every Saturday night, but mostly they are.
We'd have to practice for Christmas is the big one, really, because we'd sing for the week, plus the build-up. And for Easter, there's, Holy Thursday and Good Friday and the Passion and all that.
To sing is to pray at Mass and to be part of the Mass.
Moon in our darkness, through the night gleaming, come may our rest be, tranquil our dreaming, shine for the fearful, shine for the lonely. Ave Maria, Ave.
This generation of Straide people continued the long tradition of caring for our magnificent built heritage. These sites are an enduring reminder of the previous generations who laid the cultural foundations of Straide. They shaped us to be who we are. A centrepiece of this heritage is what locals call Straide Abbey, founded in the mid-13th century.
The majority of the stone is local. You can tell it's local, except for the cut stones and the windows. Along the wall there's carvings. They reckon they could be actually a lot older than the Abbey itself. They could be back to 10th century. They are the stone carvings from, must be graves one time. I think they're a thing that people don't actually take much heed of in it, but they're probably the oldest thing that there is around here, the oldest part of it. As children, you're always playing around it and climbing up the walls and up the arches and everything. I suppose people always have pride in it because everyone always has stories or things about old buildings and things in an area that's passed down. So they just have great pride in old buildings.
Back in 2014, around about the centenary of the First World War, a group of people here in the village got together. We formed a committee. We got about researching the various people from the area who were involved in the various wars. And it was a great project because it was a cross-community project. It was a cross-denomination project, so we worked closely with our friends in the Church of Ireland. And by 2017, we were able to establish this permanent memorial here to those who found themselves involved in these terrible conflicts.
There's great pride in caring for the graveyards. Michael Davitt was brought home to Straide for burial following his death in 1906, and his descendants are regular visitors to the area.
Born in 1846, Davitt is internationally renowned and remembered as founder of the Land League in 1879 and as a campaigner for the end of landlordism and for the rights and minorities of disadvantaged all over the world. He has inspired such world leaders as Mahatma Gandhi, Nelson Mandela and Sun Yat-sen, and is remembered in the Davitt Museum in the centre of Straide.
We see the museum as the hub for social inclusion. We like to invite all people from the area, children, the elderly, people with disabilities, and we're also at the moment doing a programme in the museum where we have a young gentleman from Western Care who is autistic, and he comes into the museum once every week and he does some drawings for us. What he's going to do is he's going to draw the whole story of Michael Davitt for children so that we can actually tell the story from those drawings, which is fantastic. What we've done, we're working closely with Straide National School. We have now set up, between ourselves and the children in the school, set up the first Children's Land League in Ireland. So that's a project that we're working with now into the future, which is fantastic.
The Davitt Museum has developed cultural links with China, expanding the connection between Davitt and Chinese politician Sun Yat-sen. Dai Chongqing was one of the 3 Chinese interns welcomed to the community and who worked with the museum.
During the internship time, because of my previous study, I was interested in hospitality and tourism. So I was given the chance to work in the Copper Beach Lounge to accept training as a waitress and as a barist. The time was good there. You really get into the local community and you feel how people know about you. And during this time, because I am a foreigner myself, I feel being welcomed and being respected for my cultural background and for my differences with the local people. And it is very magical for me. Like, I came back here today and it is over a year of the time before I live here, and people still recognize me and remember me a lot. That is really impressive.
Frank Reid has played a central role in Straide community since he was a young man. He shares his memories of school and his teachers.
She was Mrs. Welch, and we had Mrs. McCran teaching. You know about Mrs. McCran. She was teaching in the boys' school. She was teaching the boys, and yet Mrs. Lydon, she was the principal. Our sister then the principal in the girls' school, and that time Michael O'Grady, he was our principal, and in them days that always you get a few straps for the least thing, but in every school was the same. Like, that was a going thing. And then Mrs. McCran, she was a lovely singer. She should be up in the altar, and when any funeral take place, she'd go up and altar and sing by herself. And she was an awful nice singer. And when Mrs. Lydon retired, herself and her husband went to Dublin to retire. Nobody started to go to school until they'd be over 5, because they'd be kept in school all day. You wouldn't couldn't leave the school until 3 o'clock until, well, you'd have to be brought home by your older brothers or that. So, And if we, naturally, we'd have our feet to get dirty and we'd be sent out to the river to wash them. We'd be sent out in the morning, we'd come back, because after the journey, and we'd have to wash our feet out in the river. Then everybody used to bring a cart of turf to the school for the heating purposes. And in the old school there was only one big room for the boys, for the big boys in the smaller classes, and the school there was only one big room in the girls' school. So the one chimney did the two schools as it happened. We'd have our own fun going to school, and we'd have our bag, and we'd have plenty of soda cake and a bottle of tea or milk to warm during the day. And it was you'd be with the neighbouring boys, and that was a big thing. An odd boy they might scheme, and that was a big thing. They'd scheme, and when they go into some house they'd know, and they wouldn't say anything, put up with, and they'd leave them there for the day. And that'd be a big crime then for the teacher if they found out that, and their parents thought they were at school. And
Tell us about when the way you walked and the steps that were put in for you.
oh yes, at Killeen's Fort down there. When we'd arrived there, they see the schoolmaster, he'd come up the road from his own house on the bicycle, and we'd be all hiding there under the bushes or whins. And sure, he probably know well we would be there, but we wanted him down to the school first. And then in later years then, there was nice steps erected by the council going up to the school. In our time now, we all look at the bus brought the children to school. And it was a great change altogether. But there were hard times when I was growing up then. We'd all be walking with the neighbours, and they'd come and help us. And then in my case now, to say, my father died, I was only 3.5. So, yeah, it was a bit harder. But the neighbours was great, they said. The neighbours, they'd come and make the cocks of hay that time, or the stack of oats, and they were wonderful altogether. Every neighbour helped their neighbours.
Frank has seen the old church become a hall, and in more recent times become the Michael Davitt Museum.
The museum now, it was the old church, and that was turned into a hall, and there used to be a lot of functions in it. And every winter there'd be concerts in it, and during then there'd be plays. We had plays in the parish every year for a number of years. And it was a real venue for raising money. There was a committee, and the parish priest was involved, and he was very good. Well, Father Loftus was there at the time, and he, at that same time, the Straide National School was built, and we used to use that for raising funds. And the entire price for the school, when it was complete, was 11,000. And everybody was asked to pay a collection of 1 shilling a week. No, 1 shilling a month, sorry. And I was one that was collecting that money in my own area. There was a group who was around the palace. And then there was 2 grants. There was one from the Department of Education, and there was another one from the council. The old school, then, there was always a boys' school in it and a girls' school. And that was the first time that the school was mixed, when the new school was built. Every year there used to be a play in the school, and you had Michael Davitt down in River Moy, and there was Michael Howley, and there was a few more leading ones, and they were always organised, and there was always, and of course there was no dances held during Lent, and every parish like Straide, that was a time for them to have a play, and during that time too, the children would come up and they'd have a school concert in it. The new church, it was in existence, must have been set up to 1916, and the new church was built in 1916 to 1980, and of course they are to commemorate that break in 1916 here. No, but 2016 now, we commemorated 100 years since the last mass was said in it, and then Michael Davitt's grandson, a priest, didn't he say the mass there after 100 years, of course, that old church was where Michael Davitt was baptised.
So you mentioned there, Michael Davitt, you were only maybe around 12 when there was a committee put together to remember the 100 years since he was born. Was that
That's right.
Yeah.
We had a great committee at that time. There was Michael Howley, Kevin Hines, there was Michael Mulroy, and then we had Michael Keelty, and he was a cousin to Michael Davitt, second cousin. And at that time, it was held here on the 9th of June 1946. And I was very happy to be here present, and the church was packed tight. And I remember being there as a young boy, and the president and Oak de Valera came there, and a lot of the officials. And then we had an awful lot of people to the palace, and there must be about maybe 20 or 30 people on horseback. It was a great honour too.
Would they be military
no,
people?
Farmers. Okay. Mainly they had the horses round about. And I remember that day going home. It was a great treat. I got home with a neighbour. He was riding the horse, and I brought me home on the horse as well. I never forgot that part.
As part of the Michael Davitt Committee, Frank welcomed presidents, Taoiseach and ministers to Straide. Among them were Eamon O'Keefe, grandson of Eamon de Valera, who visited Straide in 1946, Mary Robinson, Mary McAleese, who is pictured here with Frank's granddaughter Lisa, Taoiseach Bertie Ahern, John Bruton, and President Hillary, who visited Straide in 1979, 100 years after the founding of the Land League. Kathleen Tunney is a long-standing member of Straide's Sunday choir.
Oh yes, I've sang in the choir for years.
When did you begin that?
Oh, I began when Mrs. McCran, when we were going to school. Mrs. McCran from your house, she was an absolutely marvellous singer. I sang while I was going to school. Then there was times, you see, when I wouldn't be about, that others took over.
The organ is there.
The organ is there.
And do you remember that being played when you were a child?
Yes, I do. And actually I sang with Mrs. MacDonald. She was an absolutely brilliant organist. Herself and her husband Johnny. But I was out of it then for a while, and of course then Father Dermot got me back again. And I'm there since.
Kathleen recalls her childhood in Blaenmore and her father's expertise in raspberry growing.
Oh, my dad. My dad, he was a great farmer. He did great things. He loved his garden, as you can see up there. He kept his gardens perfect. He loved to do everything like that. He loved his fishing. He loved his fowling. And then he did the raspberries, which was a big thing in the years gone by.
Tell us about the raspberries.
The raspberries, well, we had maybe about an acre of them. And the raspberries were grown for Lamb Brothers. Lamb Brothers were the jam manufacturers in Dublin. I think they're Fruitfield now. But they'd deliver the bardels and they'd have some sort of a preservative because there was so much, you see, so much fruit. They'd deliver the bardels, and then when all the fruit was picked into the barrels, they'd come and collect them, Lamb Brothers. And even Mr. Hardy Lamb and his wife called to my father and mother in years and years gone by. Now John McHugh down the village there, he did raspberries as well for Lamb.
Kathleen looked forward to local dances with her favourite band.
Well, I started in Straide Hall, the old hall. It's now the museum. That's where I started dancing, and it used to be great. And I always remember a band that used to play Robbie Mack. And sure, Lord, when we got up to that dance, well, it was absolutely mighty. And we hadn't a clue as to how to dance, but we kept at it and we kept going. And then we progressed. We went to Foxford, to the Brown Memorial Hall. That was the place that we really enjoyed our life. And that was good. Johnny Flynn, that was the band that we used to love. And, oh, that one, Lord above, it used to be absolutely mighty.
Straide community is at the leading edge in various fields, utilising modern technology and developing model projects that benefit all. Cantilevered off the edge of the River Moy, the East Mayo anglers have developed an accessible angling platform in this special area of conservation.
Like, there was a lot involved now, you know, from the planning right through, and there had to be adjustments made. You know, the original plans were tweaked a good bit, if you understand me. Again, there's very enthusiastic people in the club doing these things, you know what I mean? You wouldn't, one man on his own wouldn't do this. You need, it's a committee effort, you know, and it's a great committee now.
East Mayo anglers recently held a family day to encourage the younger generation to spend time at the river and showcase the magnificent accessible facility, giving angling demonstrations.
Once you catch a fish, you're hooked.
We planned it as a children family day just to introduce children to fishing and the environment and show them what it's about, and they're taking samples from the water to show what's in there, the bugs that are in there, what the fish live on. And by a fire here, they had an extra fish in the area and they caught small fish and showed us what's living in it here and how to survive. Oh, it is very interesting now.
And more importantly, I'd like to thank all the parents for taking these guys, because today is all about kids. And the kids are everything to our little community, and I must say, to get them on the river, not right, Fionn, to get you down here in Shamey, isn't it good? Yeah, and you'll see loads of fishermen and you'll see loads of different sorts of nature. So thank you boys for coming, and Fergal, thank you very much for coming.
Straide has a strong tradition of dairy and beef farming. Leading the charge for efficient practices and holistic herd health with robotic milking is dairy farmer and former Farmer of the Year Una Gallagher. Use of this technology results in higher milk yields, a reduction in the use of antibiotics, and happy cows.
The machine itself, it milks the cows, it washes the udders, it teat dips them. It gives heat probability, that's what you call it. And it also gives an indication if an animal is losing weight or if their health isn't up to standard. And that's evident on the computer, on the reading on the computer. And we can also read the somatic cell count. And if it's above a certain number, it comes up red on the screen to alarm you to get ahead of it and deal with it. The other side of it is this: you're free, we've more free time. Free time is very important. And once the cows are trained, they just adjust to the situation.
The local water scheme delivers some of the best quality drinking water using state-of-the-art technology. The group has reduced leaks to some of the lowest levels in the country. The vision of the group sees continued ongoing supply of high-quality water.
In 2007, the committees of the four schemes we mentioned, Prisoners Nolan, Belvari, Keelugs and Straide, decided that they couldn't carry on as they were. They were pumping raw water from a lake source to the people, so that couldn't carry on. So they took the initiative to amalgamate to create the bigger scheme, which is now PBKS, which is supplying up on 800 houses. But for the voluntary board members, but for all the landowners, and indeed for all the members that have contributed over the years to it, and that's the reason we are where we are today.
St. Peter and Paul's National School is essential to our identity and our pride of place. It provides a bridge to the past and builds a foundation of hope for the future whilst developing our young people in the present.
Today we raised our 6th Green School flag. We're very proud to have taken part in that. It's been a whole community development through both the homes, the local area and the teachers leading that in the school through the curriculum work that we've been doing. So it was based on global citizenship And for us in Straide, that really means looking after our own local community and how we become a global citizenship as a movement, and everybody take part in their own local area. St. Peter and Paul National School have a sensory garden, and the main focus with the sensory garden was really for social inclusion. It targets children with sensory issues and through touch, smell, and just through the texture that there is in the garden, the different colours and the visual impact it has. So we've had a huge community involvement in St. Peter and Paul National School through parents, grandparents and neighbours who come to our local events. We've had parents in and grandparents in for Grandparents' Day during Catholic Schools Week. Our staff have a brilliant team that work together, and we've always relied on the local community to help us with events in the school, and these have been a huge success.
One of the groups that works with the school is the RSS scheme. This scheme transforms and maintains the landscape of the local community. The community is rightly proud and thankful for their great work.
We have 4 graveyards to maintain, and we cover the school, the maintenance in the school, the grass cutting unit, and we do the along the verges and on the sides of the road and that, and we plant flowers in it. We do painting in it. People coming into the parish has said it umpteen times to me that it's a lovely village to go to when you pass through the way it's maintained and the way the area is kept in it, the way the flowers and all that type of thing, and the colour is beautiful in it. And I've heard it umpteen times, and that's great, and that's a tribute really to the people that keeps it maintained as well, like, you know. And then of course the big thing is that we have, when I mentioned the graveyards again, that Michael Davitt is buried in one of the graveyards.
Emigration has been a constant throughout our history. The activities of local groups like Meals on Wheels and the Text Alert Initiative, together with the local amenities and infrastructure, helps make Straide a very safe and attractive proposition for the diaspora who wish to return to the area.
We decided to move back after we had our family, and we've lived in Straide now for 18 years, and it's been lovely because my father-in-law is here from Straide, so the children have moved back to his home place and have gone to school in the school that he went to, and you know, it's been lovely that they've been running around the same fields as he did when he was young. The children have been involved in lots of the different organisations, the SNF and Moy Davitt and Balavari hurling, and they've had a great childhood here.
The Michael Davitt Community Centre has many memories for the local people. Now, thanks to the great work by the local development group, the hall has been refurbished and is ready to become the home of many new memories in the making.
We have children here that range from 6 years of age up to members that are playing that are in their 60s. So it's all abilities, all ages. They're all catered for in their own way and their own strengths and abilities, and trying to bring the best ones on then that forward to play badminton in the future.
The Indoor Soccer Club was one of the first things to really take off, and that started back in 2006 with all our national school children and a group of parents who kind of committed to making that happen, and a huge success. And then we realised, well look, you know, if that works, lots of other things can work.
Without the hall, the community lacks a space to fully meet its potential. With this in mind, many fundraising initiatives were undertaken inside and outside of the community, resulting in the magnificent refurbishment that's been recently completed.
Straide Community Development Group started using the space for, you know, we had a few events, the Christmas social, a Halloween party for the kids, and they were a great success, but the hall itself was in, you know, very poor condition. The 1980s building that really hadn't had a revamp, so as part of the Straide Action Plan, we decided that this was going to be a priority. Obviously, it came out of that process. And we started the long and laborious process of trying to figure out how to make it happen. And you know, we're a voluntary committee of local people, having never been through an experience like this. And here we are today, and we're ready to open the doors. At the end of the month, we're opening the doors again. You know, and there's been great community support for it and local support, you know, so we know, you know, you're putting your energy into a project that you know will be used, everybody wants it. And you can just see the potential in the building, you know, to be a hub in this community. When we started back in 2006, when that group came together, you know, our objective was for us to be, you know, very much inclusive and to have events that were family events, but, you know, from the young to from the children to the grandparents, and to have as many people coming in the door together as possible, so that it was very accessible for everybody. And people felt they could come to this space, that it's for everybody.
Sunday the 25th of August 2019 is a day that would be long remembered in Straide. A fantastic day when the refurbished Straide Abbey Community Hall was opened by Minister Michael Ring.
Congratulations, well done. You've built something for the future, and I look around here today and when I see the children, I hope they're proud of their parents. I hope they're proud of this community, because many, many things will happen in this community. And I was here last December. It was a cold day. This place itself, it was a lot of windows, there was a lot of air coming into it, and I have to be honest, it wasn't the warmest spot to be in. But today, when you're here, beautiful new bright building, I want to compliment the architect, the engineer and the builder and everybody involved. But the people that I really want to thank is the community here today. And I'd like now, on my own behalf, on behalf of the council, on behalf of the government, I want you to give one big round of applause for the volunteers who have worked so hard to achieve it.
Halls like this are all about the people and a place for us to meet and, you know, to reduce that sense of isolation. So we really hope everyone will get to enjoy this hall, use this hall. It's the community's hall, so I hope it's here for many years, and it'll be 30 years' time the next group will be dealing with it, okay? And that's it, that's our story.
Straide Community Development Group, along with many other groups in Straide, have accomplished so many projects over the past 5 years and have stayed true to the 5-year Futures Community Action Plan that the community voted on years ago. We have sensory gardens. East Mayo Angling has improved their facilities, loop walks. We got the speed limits. Even if you might not agree with them, we got them decreased through Straide. Parking improvements, local road improvements that are ongoing still. The community text alert system, the rural social scheme, the walk, talk, and litter picks that we did, the after-school club, registries for 4 of our cemeteries, and those works are still ongoing. And we're now communicating with everybody on Facebook, Twitter, text, radio, newspapers, newsletters, you name it, we try to reach you as best we can. Although I am chairperson at the moment, I did want to give a special thanks to Derek Murphy, who is also here today. Our chairman for the past 6 years, guys, and every year he wanted out, and every year we talked him into staying. So he has worked tirelessly with the Leader Funding Program to secure the grant, secure our engineering contractor, OMD, and oversee this whole project over the past years. So well done. Thank you so much. And we'll miss you as chairman.
The village name Ballinacalla would have covered the entire area prior to the 1800s. Then Taverna came into play into it. Ballinacalla covered an area from It came from where Maxbridge is. It went right down to the run into Pulla. It went back in across a large section of the bog. It would have been leased out into individuals in the time. I think my grandfather, going back to his 5 generations grandparents, went back, they leased several hundred acres off McAlpines, and they sublet it again. It was sublet out to different tenants in the area, the bog especially. So my great uncle, 2 of them went to America. He was in America about 3 months when he was drafted into the army, the First World War, and I think he done about a month's training. Then they were shipped to Europe, and he was there about a month when he was killed, and that was in September, the end of September 1918, and he was buried in America or in Europe. But then, when after the war, the Americans, they wanted to either repatriate or bury them in the cemetery in Spain or in France. So it was his sisters, 2 of them lived in Baltimore. They wanted him brought back to America to be buried. My great-grandmother, she says, no, he would be buried where he died. So his body was exhumed and brought to an American military cemetery. He was reinterred there, and it's only in the last few years we've got a lot of information. The War Department in America, they still have the telegrams that my great-grandmother sent and all the communications they had with her, and they sent copies of everything back here to us about 7 or 8 years ago. Like even the amount of teeth he had when he was exhumed the body. All that's sort of history. But like, that was a history to a lot of families in the area. They into the military in America. There's quite a few that went with the British military and died in the same way. His name is there on the James MacDonald. He was in the 108th Infantry. He was 23, I think, when he died. A lot of what the information I picked it up from the old man next door, old Mike Sweeney, Mick Devaney, and Mick used to come visiting here when I was a child, and Mick had all that. He would ream off history left, right and centre. He knew everything about everybody, and it's only, I don't remember a fraction of what I was told. There was a story of an old man that lived, some of the IRA men, they was on the run, so they'd stay in different houses. So they they were staying in this house, and they put the old man that was in it, Paddy Smith, they put Paddy on the lookout. So Paddy was outside on a cold night, and they were in his bed. So Paddy stuck it till about 11 o'clock at night, and he went back into the house. He told them, "You better get going quick. I can hear horses coming in the shop road." And the boys took to the hills, and Paddy took to his bed. The number of historic places about, I suppose, Ballylahan Castle would be one of the prominent ones, and it had always been the story of it being linked to the Abbey in Straide by a tunnel that's when it was built originally, but as presumed that is just a story.
Corinne Jordan found she was a descendant of Jordan Dexter, the Norman lord who was responsible for the building of Ballylahan Castle in the 13th century.
First I thought I was from Devon because my father's family are from Devon, but shortly before my father died, I mentioned that I'd heard something else about the family, and I discovered an Irish connection and researched on the internet. It was quite a long research, and eventually I followed many threads and came to Jordan de Exeter, was the kind of big daddy of the family, and he built this abbey apparently for his wife. I got called to come and visit Ireland and see if I could find some of the places that I'd found on the internet. So I began in County Meath. There's Castle Jordan there, which was built later in the 13th century. And then I knew I wanted to come here because Ballylahan Castle is the first one that was built in, I think, 1239 by Jordan de Exeter. So I'm here for 2 weeks just to explore, see who I meet, come and honour the ancestors in these places, get a feel for the place, and just write it all up and tell the family back at home what's happened.
We all have something to say about the weather, but there is one man who knows what he is talking about. Meet Martin Sweeney, Met Éireann volunteer.
I'm no stranger to the rain. I can spot bad weather and I'm good at finding shelter in the down.
The wettest day ever I recorded was the way back in October '89. I recorded 3.7 on one day. That was the day the Crossmolina was badly flooded. A couple of more inches fell with Storm Desmond. And the Moy reached a record height down there, 4.6 metres. And it went over Ballylahan Bridge. That was one of the biggest floods in the Moy since it was rained.
Martin has a range of instruments to measure all weather types.
Even the screen here, and the door opens to the north. That means anytime you open the door, the sun cannot shine on the thermometers. Over here on the left is the dry bulb. Over here is the wet bulb. So the difference between the two determines the humidity. Now it's after making a shower, so the difference wouldn't be much today. So this is the temperature of the grass. And when I read that then, I tilt it like that and set it. Now the grass temperature is always lower than the air temperature. Typically now on a cold winter's evening, when the temperature there would be 3 or 4, it would be near zero here. It's always a few degrees colder. Like you'll often hear them say on the forecast there'll be ground frost tonight. Well, it'll be taken from the grass thermometer. When I started a long time ago, I was recording in inches, but now it's in millimeters. So 25 millimeters to the inch. Now last night I got a huge rainfall. This bottle was nearly full, and I recorded 44.7 millimeters. That's nearly 2 inches of rain.
Martin has recently moved from a manual to an automated phase of weather forecasting.
I'm going to do 3 months for them. The reason is they want to compare my instruments with theirs, like a comparison. But after 3 months then I'm free and easy, like. But I have no intention of dropping the hobby, like, you know. Because at the end of the month, I compile a weather report for the parish magazine, and I send a weather report to England. And I also want to maintain my own records, like, you know. So I will do it as long as I'm able to do it. My favourite always was Evelyn Cusick. In fact, I was up in Ballyhonus one night and she was giving a lecture. So I met her that night, and she was like the girl next door, a lovely girl. And I got the photograph taken with her as well, like, you know.
With this in mind, we travelled to Dublin to meet Evelyn Cusack and the team at Met Éireann headquarters.
I had the great pleasure of meeting Martin at a public lecture in meteorology, and I was struck by his dedication and enthusiasm in all things meteorological. I, of course, thanked him very much for his long years of service and dedication, going out, taking rainfall readings in, I'm afraid, a very wet part of Ireland. So as a forecaster for many years, we completely rely on Martin and the voluntary observers to give us our information and to help our understanding of the climate and the particularly wet weather in more western parts of Ireland. So thanks so much, Martin. And just to let you know, I really appreciate, and all the forecasters really appreciate, your hard work and dedication.
Martin is one of our team of voluntary observers, and these are essentially citizen scientists, and they've been working for us for many, many years. In fact, going back 150 years, we have a long record of people taking voluntary readings every day, rain, hail or snow, no matter what the weather, and they send in the readings to us at the end of every month. And these data are really important to us because they help us to define what exactly is the climate of Ireland, what's the highest temperature, lowest temperature, greatest number of days with rainfall, all of this type of information. And as we collate that information over a long period of time, we build up the knowledge of the climate of Ireland. And as we know now, this is extremely valuable information in terms of climate change, because if we hadn't been observing the climate over the past 50, 60, 100 years, we wouldn't know that the climate was changing. And of course, people like Martin are special because Martin has been observing the weather for us for over 50 years. And that is an extreme amount of dedication for Martin to go out every single day over such a long period of time. And to get people like that with such dedication, they're like gold dust.
Unfortunately, at the moment, we're moving to a stage of automating this because it's very hard to get people with such dedication. So we're now moving to an automated phase of monitoring the climate of Ireland. But people like Martin will always have a special place in the history of Irish meteorology and climatology. And Martin, thank you very much for all of your years of dedication and good work.
Part of my work is doing the station inspections. And over the years I've got to know Martin quite well because for the last 25 years I've been doing this job. And I've always, every couple of years I would drop in on him just to say hello and keep an eye on his station for him. Yeah. And just looking at his file here, it goes back a long way. He actually started in 1963 as a rainfall observer. And then I think in the middle of August 1983, which would be what, 20 years later, he upgraded to a climatological station where he took temperature readings first, and also a sunshine recorder, which he had stationed out on the back of his farm. But yeah, Martin has sort of, over the years, he's not only has he sent in the returns, but he's sent in little snippets of weather events that would have occurred down in Mayo, thunderstorms, frost, all these different things, lightning. And then he actually has the record of back in 2010, which we just have it here. He sent in a piece on the coldest temperature in that coast bell in December 2010. He was the coldest place in Ireland. Yeah, and he's quite proud of that. Yeah, so if Martin, hopefully I get down to see you later on this year, and thank you very much for all your dedication and your readings over the years. I look forward to seeing you soon.
Storm Desmond hit in 2015, flooding the pitch, the clubhouse and the grounds. All hands were on deck to restore the facilities to their best as quickly as possible.
People came here with their tractors on a Saturday. We got voluntary machinery, dug out drains, drained the pitches. People came with tractors, farmers, different people came with shovels. There was housewives down here making food for the people on a number of Saturdays in a row, and it was all voluntary. And we backfilled all the drains, got people leaned in, they seeded the ground and level picked stones and the whole lot. And everything we did that year was voluntary. And I think what it did, even though it turned out to be a disaster, but what it did was it gelled communities together and gelled people and brought back faith in the club. All our aim is, particularly as an underage manager, all your aim is to improve players so they can move on and represent the club. And if they represent the county, brilliant, but your aim is just to improve the players, both in their personality and in their ability.
I suppose my dad's caters for anyone between under 6 and senior players. So it all starts off at the under 6 level, the basic fundamental movements, and then builds up to the senior level where we actually have a representative on the Mayo Senior County panel, Fiona Doherty. But these girls here, they're at the under 14 level now, and they're playing Féile at the All-Ireland Féile competition is on this weekend, and it just shows how if you keep developing your skills and involving the community and the girls stay together, that they can form part of this amazing competition there this weekend.
We were formed in 1974 and the club were called Michael Davitt GA Club. The name is self-explanatory. The River Moy flows through all areas of our club, Beholda, Straide, Foxford and Mass. Michael Davitt is well known to everyone, born in Straide just up the road where our club is based, and we felt at the time, the founders of the club felt at the time, that someone of such historical importance had to be in the name of our club.
The success story behind My Davitt's is its cooperation with the 3 parishes, particularly Straide. A number of underage players has come up through the ranks and have played at county level. Straide, My Davitt's have worked very closely with Straide National School. I, as one of the coaches who have gone in there in the last number of years, have seen the benefit from it. We have a small school. There's 8 to 10 kids leaving each year. They go on to a big school, maybe 80 or 90 kids in each class. When these kids leave Straide National School,
due to their involvement with My Davitt's, it means they now know most of the kids that's coming into their first year. First year is a huge, huge change in life for these kids. But when they know other kids through sport, it means they're able to blend in. And it's thanks to My Davitt's and Straide and Foxwood local soccer club who has brought them kids along through their participation in sport, which has really stood them when they go to secondary school. There's under 6, under 8, under 10, under 12. There's under 13, under 14, under 15, under 16, under 17 minor, junior and senior. Nobody gets any money for it. If any of the maybe senior players are out of pocket through travel and that, the club fundraises to keep them lads a few pounds if they're out of pocket for travel and expenses and medical expenses. The club looks after these players very, very well. If anyone is hurt, their bills are looked after and the whole lot. We do a lot of fundraising, and yes, we pull a lot of money out of the different areas, but it's all people can see what we're doing here. There's over 200 kids registered underage. There's 45 players registered at senior level. So, you know, it is high expense on the club, but I think the players appreciate it, the parents appreciate it, and the young kids particularly appreciate it.
Just up the road, the orange and black flag flies high for Straide and Foxwood United Athletic Football Club.
Our volunteers, our coaches, they're the cornerstone of our club. They are what nourish our youth, what bring them on, not only football skills, but develop their personalities and just bring them on and make them shine. This year we're celebrating 30 years united, and it's a fantastic achievement. It's great to see that the two communities of Straide and Foxwood work so well together. Just a couple of weeks ago, Foxwood held their community games on our pitch here, so it's great to see that we always work together. Even though the pitch is here in Foxwood, it's very much Straide and Foxwood together. Our youth academy is here every Saturday morning, under 6 and under 8s, and then we have our under 10s, under 12s, 14, 16 and 18, and that's boys and girls. So we have all that happening here, and again, it's all down to our amazing coaches who volunteer their time and their skills to help our children.
Tell us a little bit about your logo.
It was developed in 2000, and it just, the S for S and the F for Foxwood and the U to unite both. We have, this year for example, the Under 14 Kennedy Cup took place in Limerick, and Colin McHale from Straide was the captain of the Mayo team, which is a fantastic achievement. Our youth setup was decimated for many years, and to see that it has progressed and flourished, and the pinnacle was Colin captaining Mayo. We have 8 more representatives on Mayo teams at the youth level, which again is a huge achievement, and we're also incredibly proud of them. They've been fantastic ambassadors for our club.
Sean Mulroy, Conor Reid and Cian McHale are all county team players. Each are excelling in their chosen sport.
I suppose my earliest memories in Straide National School was Adrian Hession come to the school. I suppose he brought hurling into school, he founded it. I think in our first year we got to come to the Muscle final, and I think we were unfortunate to lose the final, but I suppose it was really stepping stones from there on in. You know, fellas and girls too, they started joining our local hurling clubs, and yeah, I suppose really the bedrock to, I suppose, what hurling is in Straide now, and same with Gaelic football, I think, you know. There's a lot more youngsters getting involved, you know. I think it's important too that it has to start at underage and develop right up to senior level. You know, we're fortunate enough to win the Nicky Racker Cup in 2016 and 20% on now from there.
We had a very good 2 years there when I was in art school in 5th class. We won the Conan Munster for Gaelic, and it was great. And the year after we got to the final, but lost out to Listeniska, it was for not more. It was good. We had 2 good years there, very good teams.
And was that, did that give you the love of the sport?
Very, yes. Enjoy a bit more, like it's always better when you're winning, I suppose.
I started off with under 8s. I was 5 when I started, and just every year just keep playing, and we win trophies a lot of the years, like leagues and East Mayo's, and this year we won the Division 2 league with My Davitt's, and I was captain of that, and now it just helped me get more involved with the community, and now I'm with the Mayo under 16 football team.
And how do you feel, is the community supportive of you and all the players?
Yeah, they're always wishing me luck and sending texts to my parents and putting things up on social media, just wishing good luck to all the team.
Red and white, black and amber, we wish them all the best of luck. As we made this documentary, longtime parish priest Father Dermot Burns was lovingly remembered. Yesterday go rao a anam.
Far away from the land of the shamrock and heather, in search of a living as exiles we roam, and whenever we chance to assemble together, we sing of the land where we once had a home. From Ballina, Ballinrobe and Bohola, Queelogs and Foxford, a few miles below, Newport and Cong, with old Straide and Manola, Charlestown to in the county Mayo. So boys pull together in all kinds of weather, don't show the white feather wherever you go. Act each as a brother and love one another, like stout-hearted men from the county Mayo.
May peace and prosperity with you abound. I must leave you, I fear, for my boat's turning round. I awoke from my dreaming a little dismayed, but my heart I leave with you in beautiful Straide.